All right, let's dive into one of the most chilling, most talked about poems you'll study for your GCSEs, Robert Browning's Porphyria's Lover. This is a seriously dark and twisted tale of obsession, and honestly, understanding the speaker's mind is the key to absolutely nailing this on your exam. So let's get into it and unravel this mystery together.
So first up, who's Robert Browning? Well, he was an absolute master of this poetic form called the dramatic monologue. Think of it like a solo performance in a play. You've got one character on stage speaking their thoughts out loud, but they're not talking to us. They're talking to some silent listener in the scene. And the real genius is that as they talk, they start to reveal things they don't mean to. Their real personality, their deep down psychology, and yeah, often their complete madness. And Porphyria's lover? He is one of the most haunting examples you will ever come across.
Okay, here's our game plan. We're going to walk through this poem exactly as it happens. We'll start with that stormy night, watch Porphyria arrive, see the speaker's terrifying decision, analyze that shocking climax, and then try to make sense of his final, haunting words. Following the story like this lets us see his mind unravel one chilling step at a time.
Right from the very first lines, Browning sets this incredibly dark and unsettling mood. And I want you to pay really close attention to the weather, because it's not just a backdrop, it's basically a window straight into our speaker's head.
This right here is a perfect example of pathetic fallacy. I mean, notice how the wind isn't just strong, it's sullen. It's acting out of spite. Browning is giving the storm these human-like, angry emotions, and that's because it's a perfect mirror for the violent feelings that are already brewing inside our narrator.
And there's the connection, right there. The chaos and anger of the storm outside is a perfect match for the absolute despair he feels inside. He's just sitting there, totally passive, heartbroken, and alone. Now remember this feeling of passivity, because the whole power dynamic of this poem is about to get completely turned upside down.
And then she arrives. When Porphyria walks into that cottage, she's like a whirlwind of energy and action, a total contrast to our miserable, sulking speaker. Just look at all the things she does. She shuts out the storm, gets the fire roaring, lets her hair down, and even takes his arm and puts it around her own waist. She is 100% the active force here. Browning lists all these actions to show us just how much power and agency she has in this moment, while our speaker, he just sits there, watching. But as Porphyria is showing him all this love and affection, something just clicks in the speaker's mind, and he interprets this moment of tenderness in a really twisted and ultimately deadly way. This is it. This is the absolute turning point of the entire poem.
He doesn't just feel loved, he feels worshipped, and that one word changes everything. In his mind, he's just been elevated from a sad, passive guy to a god. He truly believes he has finally gained total and complete power over her, that this is the absolute peak of her devotion. And this delusional thought leads him to a horrific conclusion.
So, because he believes he's captured this one perfect moment of pure worship, he decides he has to make it last forever. And the only way his twisted mind can figure out how to do that is to stop time itself.
Listen to that repetition, that intense, obsessive phrase, mine, mine. This has nothing to do with love. This is all about ownership. He sees her not as a person he loves, but as a beautiful thing that he must possess. And in his warped logic, by killing her in this moment of perfect purity, he can keep her just like this forever.
And just listen to the language he uses. It's so calm, it's so rational, and that's what's so terrifying. For him, murder isn't a crime of passion, it's just a thing to do, a simple solution to his problem. This cold, detached tone is what makes him so deeply disturbing.
And there it is, the ultimate sickening irony of the poem. Her beautiful, long yellow hair, the very thing he was just admiring, becomes the weapon he uses to kill her. He takes the symbol of her beauty and twists it into an instrument of violent control.
But the horror doesn't end there. Oh no. He props her body up, opens her eyes, kisses her. He's treating her like a doll. He says her smiling, rosy little head has now gotten its utmost will. You see, in his mind, he hasn't just murdered her. He thinks he's granted her darling one wish to be with him forever. There is zero remorse.
The poem ends with the two of them just sitting there, all night long. And this leads to one of the most famous and most unsettling final lines in all of English poetry.
So, the big question is, how does he read this silence?
He's just committed a horrendous crime, and yet the heavens haven't opened up and struck him down with a lightning bolt. So he takes God's silence not as indifference, but as approval. In his twisted mind, God's silence means his actions were justified, and he's completely fine with what he's done.
And that's the crucial question I want to leave you with for your analysis. Is this final line the ultimate proof of his insanity? Or is Browning maybe making a darker point about a world where terrible things happen and sometimes there's just silence? Figuring out how much you can trust this narrator, if you can trust him at all, that's the real key to unlocking the terrifying power of Porphyria's love.